Hello, hello, hello. Am I here? Can I get a 5x5? Hello, hello, hello. Am I here? Can I get a 5x5? All right. Can you see me? Okay, I see you. I have my laptop going. So there's going to be a delay in the chat, but my laptop's going, so okay. This is crazy. Right before the live, my StreamYard went completely down. It said it's not connected to the internet. Then it said my computer didn't have internet. Then it this, then it that. Oh. Like my moderator said, just breathe. Okay. Okay, let's see. I want to present. Oh, I got to open these up again. I'm sorry. I got to open these up. I had to close down my computer and reboot, so now I got to reopen everything. There's my FBI fair use warning. Everything is alleged. Nothing is fact. I have right to use this for learning and stuff like that. Ayla Reynalds, stop. Present, share screen. We're getting somewhere. I spent last night literally 3 hours recording what I needed to record for this live today. And that was without even updating. Then this morning, I spent another 2.5 hours editing to cut the video down and take out where I was yawning, because I was yawning all the way through it because it was like midnight. So anyway, hopefully we'll have a good live stream. I found this on X. I seen an update that was done this month about this case that I had not heard about, and it's from 2011. And the young little girl has still not been found. So let's go into what we can do. Ayla Reynalds, born April 4th, 2010, Waterville, Maine, United. That's why I'm wearing the same shirt I was wearing yesterday, because I filmed it yesterday. Disappeared December 16th, 2011, age 1, Waterville, Maine, U.S. Missing for 13 years and 5 months and 20 days, declared DEAD in absentia, May 30th, 2017. Trista Reynolds and Justin DiPietro are her parents. Good deal. Ayla Reynolds is an American child from Waterville, Maine, who disappeared age 19 months on December 16, 2011. She was last seen at 8 p.m. that night in her bed by a family member, but was not there when her father... I'm showing 3 people in chat. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being there. I might be 2 of them. I don't know if I am or not. I have my laptop set up over here because yesterday during chat, I couldn't see the chat. And then just before I closed my screen, I couldn't see my moderators telling me, wait, there's 11 people in here. There's 11 people. All I saw was just me and my moderator, and then I wasn't even getting half of what she was trying to say. So now I have my laptop set up here, and it might take me a minute to see your comment because there's a lag between the two devices, but I'm going to try my best to be able to see chat today. Do you want me to drop the link in case you need to holler at me for something? Where's this? Okay. Is my stream already? There it goes. All right. Let's go again. Checked the next morning. The case was the largest criminal investigation in Maine's history and the third largest search for a missing child in the state's history, perhaps exceeded by the intensive search for the Mott children in Baxter State Park in August of 1965. Ayla Reynalds was the daughter of Trista Reynolds and Justin DiPietro. She was born on April 4th, 2010 in Waterville, Maine. Ayla had been placed temporarily in the home of her father, Justin DiPietro, by the Maine Department of Human Services, DHS. Mother Trista Reynolds was in the area and claimed she was on her way to rehab for her RUG addiction. Ayla was reported missing from her bed on December 17, 2011. According to DiPietro's statement to the police, the last time he saw Ayla, she was wearing green polka dot pajamas with Daddy's Princess written across them, along with a soft cast on her left arm. There were two people besides DiPietro in the house at the time of Ayla's disappearance: his girlfriend Courtney Roberts and his sister Alicia DiPietro. State police held a press conference in May of 2012 to discuss recent developments in the case, including the discovery of BLOOD in her father's house and the number of people who were present at the time of her disappearance. The BLOOD was confirmed to be more than a cupful of Ayla's BLOOD adjacent to DiPietro's bed. The only comment. Now let's think about this. We have a 20-month-old baby, almost 2 years old, and she has lost a whole cup of blood or more than. Sorry, BLOOD. Correct it. So she's lost more than that. And it was right by the dad's bed and she was sleeping in another room that was adjacent to the dad's bedroom. So it was like a nursery that was in there for the baby. And then the BLOOD was near the dad's bed. And the dad and his girlfriend were sleeping in that bed. How could anything have happened that caused that child to lose that much BLOOD and the dad and his girlfriend not seen it or heard or woke up? Something doesn't sound quite right. State investigators made at the time of its discovery was that it was more than a small cut could produce. Following Ayla's disappearance, a group of Waterville businesses posted a reward of $30,000 for information leading to her safe return. The reward generated approximately 1,200 leads, many of them from psychics, none of which led to the discovery of any information regarding Ayla. DiPietro, his brother Lance, and a mutual friend collaborated with the Laura Recovery Center to produce T-shirts, buttons, flyers, and other goods to spread awareness of Alia's disappearance. DiPietro did not speak about his daughter's disappearance for almost 3 weeks after the story broke. Does that not sound like somebody else we know in Hendersonville, Tennessee? Maybe. As a result, Alia's mother accused him of having something to hide. Nearly a full year later, in October of 2012, police trawled Messalonsky Stream, a second time to look for Alia's remains. When construction workers repairing a bridge artificially lowered the water level in the stream, nothing was found. DiPietro has not been charged in relation to the case. However, state investigators and Trista Reynolds. I just want to clear this up. I did not misspeak. The words I was reading, it actually said artificially lowered the water level. I don't know how you can artificially lower a water level, but they did. I think they temporarily dammed the stream up to work on the bridge, and then the water level just went down. And then as soon as they unblocked the stream, it would have come back. I think that's what they were saying. Have both expressed that they believe DiPietro has not been forthcoming about his knowledge of Alia's disappearance. What's a soup pump? A sump pump? That would have to be an awful big sump pump. On June 25th, 2015, an unidentified toddler known as Baby Doe, or Deer Island Jane Doe, was found unalived on the shore of Deer Island, Massachusetts. The subject was believed to have been found 3 to 5 years old at the time of unaliving, which was somewhat consistent with Reynolds. Many suspected that the unidentified body was Alia. You're right. I didn't even think about that. It is a big old huge salt pump. My shoe got stuck in my chair. It would be a big old salt pump to drain the water out for a little while and then be able to let the water back in. See, I haven't watched Oak Island in so long I hadn't thought about it. And when you said sump pump, I was thinking like the little thing that I had to buy last week to put in my drain. Okay, you're smarter than I am. But she was soon excluded as a possible identity. The Jane Doe was identified in September 2015 as Bella Bond. At the 1 year mark, so while they were looking for one missing child, they found the remains of another missing child. So they ended up being able to close a case for one family while the case remained open for the other family. So that's good and bad. Part of Alia's disappearance, the Maine State Police, Maine Warden Service, and Waterville Police stated that they would not let up on the search efforts until Alia was found. No one said that, but your dam is a big possibility too. Right. I mean, I imagine it could be a combination of both together at the same time if they need to get the water out real quick, because on Oak Island they have to dam it up some way so that the water doesn't come back in while they're searching. So we could both be right. just conducted earlier that month in southern New Hampshire and in Mayfield turned up nothing. A candlelight vigil was held in Waterville to mark 1 month of Ayla's being missing and was attended by DiPietro. He was also the first to leave the vigil and refused to speak to the media. Trista organized a 4-mile, 6.4-kilometer walk in Waterville called Eyes Open Walk, as well as a similar walk in Portland and in May and July of 2012, in order to keep media attention focused on the case. On May 17, 2017, Ayla was declared unalive by the state of Maine. On December 17, 2018, Trista Reynalds filed a wrongful unaliving lawsuit against Justin DiPietro, alleging that he caused Ayla's unaliving through intentional wrongful actions and subjected the child to pre-unaliving pain, fright, terror, and physical injuries. I'll tell you what, it's not hard to it's very hard to mentally have to change those words while you're reading them on paper as words that can't be said on YouTube. You have to really be, and that makes me yawn because I have to use my brain. At the time of filing, DiPietro's whereabouts were unknown. On February 22, 2022, Trista Reynolds sought to amend and expand the wrongful unaliving lawsuit against Justin DiPietro because of newly discovered evidence. The two sides reached a settlement in Ayla Reynolds' wrongful unaliving lawsuit. 20-month-old Ayla Reynolds vanished from her home in Waterville in December of 2011. Her body was never found, and a judge declared her legally unalive in 2017.
Half hour with news that a civil lawsuit between the biological parents of Ayla Reynolds has been settled out of court.
Justice will be served. It's going to happen.
That was Trista Reynolds on the 10th anniversary of the disappearance. And
look at that beautiful baby. She's got the blue eyes that are as big as heaven. She's so cute.
Presumed the death of her daughter Ayla. The toddler vanished in December of 2011 from the home in Waterville that her father, Justin DiPietro, was staying at. Police found traces of Ayla's blood in the home, but she was nowhere to be found. At the time, state police said DiPietro was not being forthright about what he knew, but there was not enough evidence to charge him with a crime. So after...
I'm going to back this up. Okay.
Vanished in December of 2011.
Just a minute, I just realized
from Waterville that her father, Justin DiPietro, was staying at. Police found traces of Ayla's blood in the home, but she was nowhere to be found. At the time, state police said...
That is not Ayla. That child has dark brown eyes. No way that baby has blue eyes. There's no way. That looks like a little boy. That doesn't look like a little girl.
DiPietro was not being forthright about what he knew, but there was not enough evidence to charge him with a crime. So after having her daughter declared legally dead, Reynolds decided to sue him in civil court. That lawsuit was then expanded to include DiPietro's sister and his mother, who owned the house where Ayla vanished.
We're trying to find out how Ayla was killed, why she was killed, and where she was killed. And to do that, we intend on taking the depositions of many of the people that were involved in this matter.
But those depositions will not happen. According to documents News Center Maine obtained today, a settlement to that civil suit was actually filed back in April. Terms of that settlement were not disclosed. We did reach out to the lawyers representing the parties involved. We have yet to hear back from Trista Reynolds or Justin DePietro's attorneys. But Laura Maher, who represented DePietro's mother, Phoebe, and sister Alicia, told us that while they still dispute the claims Trista Reynolds made in her lawsuits, all parties thought it was in their best interest to resolve the case this way.
That was from News Center, Maine. And I'm believing it's ABC, CBS, NBC, one of those. One of the three. Proud as a peacock. I remember that when I was a kid, but I don't really watch the news. So, anyway, here's more.
Even more than a decade after she vanished, Ayla Reynolds hasn't been forgotten. From Bangor to Kittery to Waterville, Toddler's smiling face is etched in the minds of people all across the state and even the country. It seems every year that passes, there are more and more questions. Did her father really kill her? What did police miss? Most importantly, where is she? The police team has gone through every piece of reporting since December 16th, 2011.
Sorry. I did do breaks in between. I broke it up for you know what it is, that FBI warning thing. Oh, that is my next door neighbor has a car wash that he does in his yard, and he's cleaning floor mats. Let me close the window. That tree likes to fall over. Okay, is that better? Should I tell him to stop between 3 and 5 so I can put my lives? Mason, turn it off.
Today, 18-month-old Ayla Reynolds vanished.
You don't know who else, mate.
And the story, nothing points in that direction. Still, I did not watch this video all the way through. It says it's from Zach Blanchard, News Center, Maine. Just doesn't quite make sense. It all started on a brisk Saturday morning in the small city of Waterville, Maine. Justin DePietro called police just before 9 o'clock, saying his daughter was missing. He was at this house on Violet Ave with his girlfriend and his sister. He claimed he put Ayla to bed the night before. When he woke up, she was gone. I apologize about the poor video content. Let me see if I can make it better. Okay, I'm going to hold it right here. The little girl, just 2 feet 9 inches tall, 40 pounds, with blonde hair, seen wearing polka dot pajamas, words "Daddy's Princess" written on the front. Within just hours, the search for Ayla was on.
20-month-old still missing in our area. I feel like it's part of our duty to go ahead and help any way that we can.
Community members, police officers, firefighters scoured the neighborhood.
We're checking everything.
Okay, Amanda Panda says, first of all, I don't know any child that can sleep until 9 a.m. Exactly. Especially when they're put to bed at 8 o'clock the night before. That's 13 straight hours. And no 2-year-old is going to sleep 13 hours. Sorry, just saying. Just saying. I agree with you 100%. Hold, please. Hello? CJ? Are you okay? Yeah, I'm doing my live. What's up? Okay, after my live is over, I'll bring you some supper. Okay. Okay. I'll bring you something after my live is over. Thank you. Love you. Bye. Sorry, it worries me when my son calls me. They've got a big military thing today, and the military's coming in, and they usually order like 40 burgers and stuff like that. And he can't leave to come home for his lunch, and he forgot to take any with him, so he needs lunch. And I said, I'm doing my live. I said, I'll bring you some when I get done. No, right, Amanda, definitely not. Definitely not. They're not going to sleep 12 hours unless they're given something to help them sleep.
Culverts and outbuildings and trying to get the neighborhood to help us out.
All in the hopes of finding Ayla alive.
How do they account for not seeing her for 12 hours and reporting her?
She was in a room bedroom with everybody.
Hours turned to days.
I'm sorry. You're going to leave a 20-month-old baby in a room for 12 hours without checking on them? Excuse me. Probably going to be a really big order today. The military is 250 years old. Happy birthday, military. They do this about once a month. The military comes in and does some sort of something here in town. I don't ever go to it. And they eat. They always order from Miller's Five when there's another restaurant right next door and another one just a block up the road. They could go sit down and eat Chinese. But I'm thankful that my son's able to be there to do it. He says they get real busy there. I don't think so. No child at 20 months old should sleep for 12 straight hours.
Ayla's mother, Trista Reynolds, every minute felt like a lifetime.
I guess I just want to pick her up and I want to hold her.
Okay, I made some notes about this. And one thing I noticed is the way she's acting like she wants to sound like she's crying, but she's not crying at all. That really sounds weird to me.
Tell her she's going to be okay.
4 days into the search, she and her father spoke to the media for the first time.
I can't sleep, I can't eat. I mean, I'm calling out of my skin, not knowing what the hell is going on.
I want to see her face, I want to see her eyes, I want to feel her touch, I want to tell her I love her, and I feel like I can't respect her right now.
She said she had cared for her daughter since birth, but a few months before the disappearance, Trista had to...
My question is, why was the daughter not with the mother? And does that have something to do with why they told her to drop the... No, the mother was in rehab, remember? She had a RUG problem. And she was told by CPS that either she get help or she would lose both of her children. She didn't want to lose her children, so her sister and her mom was taking care of both of her kids. And then the dad, who didn't want the daughter at all, told her to put the child up for adoption when she was pregnant with the little girl, didn't even believe that she was hers until after the paternity test came through. Then all of a sudden, when the mother goes into rehab, then the dad wants to be a mother, or the dad wants to be a mother. He wants to step in. So that's the way that works.
Deal with personal issues, so had her sister take care of Ayla. Then the State Department of Health and Human Services got involved, ultimately granting custody to her ex, Justin DePietro.
Agreement was that if he took Ayla, if I let him take care of Ayla for the time being for me to get back on my feet, he had to live with his mother because I thought it would been the safest place for her to be. And
But the search continued. Wardens and volunteers looked everywhere. The nearby Messalonsky Stream was drained so that a plane could search from above.
Our focus here is to find Ayla.
Waterville Police Chief Joe Massey said they received more than 100 tips. Upwards of 75 officers were working on the case. Still, no sign of Ayla.
This is a missing child case as it stands right now. And until it would develop into anything else, that's how it's treated.
The biggest question, what did Ayla's father know? What wasn't he saying? His silence only adding to the mystery. And finally, after 4 days, he shared that
I'm going to say, before we get any further in this, trigger warning, trigger warning, trigger warning. I don't know what's about to come up. We do know that Ayla hasn't been found yet. Okay, we know that. But I don't know what else is in here in the video, so I'm going to say trigger warning. Just
this
in
was
case.
a statement. I have no idea what happened to Ayla or who is responsible. I will not make accusations or insinuations towards anyone until the police have been able to prove who's responsible for this.
Of course, a guilty party is going to say, I'm not going to make accusations until the police can say who's responsible. That's a guilty person's comment. Where's Deception Detective when I need him? Where is he? He's going to say that is a guilty person comment every day.
But did he? And what exactly happened in the 13 hours from when he put the toddler to bed when he called police? Next, it did not take long for this story to hit the national airwaves. Mr. Reynolds didn't hold back from going public as the case turns into a criminal investigation.
December 20th, 2011. Details of an unstable home life have emerged in the case of missing Maine toddler Ayla Reynolds, who was vanished from her father's house Friday night. Reynolds was reported missing Saturday morning by her father, Justin DePietro, who told police that he put the 20-month-old to bed on Friday night and found her missing the next morning. The girl had been placed in his custody just weeks before by the Department of Human Services because her mother, Trista Reynolds, had entered rehab for substance abuse, according to Trista Reynolds' relatives. The toddler's grandmother, Becca Hansen, told the Morning Sentinel newspaper that she had been watching Ayla while her daughter Trista was in rehab, but that Ayla was taken by the DHS and placed with DePietro. Trista's other child, a 9-month-old, remained in the Reynolds family custody. Trista and her 9-month-old son are currently living in a motel in South Portland, according to Hansen. Trista Reynolds had filed to regain custody of her daughter December 15th, the day before the disappearance. She told ABC News that DePietro did not know she had filed the paperwork. According to Trista's stepsister, the missing girl had recently broken her arm at her father's house and had begun showing bruises on her skin, the Morning Sentinel reported. Waterville Police Chief Joseph Massey has said the girl broke her arm during an accidental fall. Police are continuing their search for the girl for the fourth straight day after Monday's canvases of a nearby river and aerial searches turned up nothing. Massey said the police are following every lead that comes in from the public, and we have not ruled out abduction. Waterville Police, State Police, game wardens, and FBI are all involved in the search, with more than 75 law enforcement agents now helping in the investigation. Massey said 25 agents helped conduct the river search, which Massey called a logical step because of the proximity to where Ayla was last seen. Police towed 2 vehicles from the DePietro house Monday, but would not comment on why. Massey has said that there were several adults at DePietro's home the night of the disappearance, including one non-relative. DePietro did not return calls for comment. A candlelight vigil was scheduled for 4:30 p.m. the day this was written, though a vigil held last night in front of DePietro's home was sparsely attended. January 31st, 2011, police investigating the disappearance of Maine toddler Ayla Reynalds have turned their focus to the 3 adults who were in the home with the girl the night she was last seen, saying that the evidence doesn't point to an abduction. It was being called the most intensive investigation. Man, that in itself should have been a light bulb for the authorities, in my opinion. I've never seen a child under the age of 2 with a broken bone. I'm not saying it's not possible, but yeah, especially the way the father says that the arm got broken. He said that he was carrying groceries and carrying her, and he fell on her. That's his story, and he's sticking to it. Made me think of back when I was in junior high school, and I was going to church, and I had walked out of church, and I was carrying this baby that was, well, it wasn't 2 years old yet, but it was over a year old. That's been 100 years ago, so I don't remember exactly. But I remember that I was wearing, at the time, the wedge shoes, the high heels that was wedges, was in style, and I was wearing a pair, and I hit a rock just wrong, and I started to fall. And I remember that by instinct, when I started to fall, I remember turning my body completely and getting that baby in front of me and landing on my back while I was falling, just to protect the baby. I remember that. And then he said he fell on the baby. I've been around a lot of rough kids, and I was a rough kid. Never broke a bone, and none of my siblings ever broke until they were 6. You don't see 2-year-old running around with a cat. I have to correct you, ma'am. When you were 3, your sister pushed you off the top of a slide and broke your arm. She pushed you over the top instead of down the slide, and it broke your arm. So you had a broken arm when you were 3. Yep, you did. But that wasn't anything that your adopted parents at the time had done. I got the wrong kid. Did you push her off the slide and break her arm? I'm sorry. I remember the story wrong. I was even there when it happened. I was in the house with your adopted parents and your grandma at the time it happened. Wow, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I guess I got the girls mixed up. It was at Brandon's 2-year-old birthday party, right? And you guys lived in the apartment complex. I remember that. All right, I'm sorry about that. Right, you would have been 6 and she would have been 5. Okay. I remember now. I'm sorry. Like I said, that was 100 years ago, so I don't remember all the details. Because I was not as old then as I am now. And launched in Maine within the last decade. State police are now saying they believe the adults inside the house the night baby Ayla disappeared know more than they are saying. Investigators are dismissing the basic premise that Ayla's father, Justin DePietro, had suggested all along. His 20-month-old was abducted on December 17th. DePietro had reported her missing that day. We have searched that home and we have found not one piece of evidence to lead us to believe Ayla was abducted. Stephen McCausland, spokesman for the Maine Department of Public Safety, said, "Still haven't seen youngins running around with the cast and never one that young unless something serious happened." Right. Right. And usually it's something serious caused by a parent that is being a little rough. We'll put it that way. We think one or all 3 of the adults have info they haven't told us, and we need that info in order to find Ayla. Recently, police revealed that evidence found at the home includes Ayla's BLOOD, which was discovered in the partially finished basement that her father used as his bedroom. While investigators will not say how much BLOOD was discovered, they told Ayla's mother, Trista Reynalds, that it was more than a small cut would produce. There was BLOOD found, and it wasn't just a small amount. "I don't want it to be real," she said. Trista Reynolds, 23, was in a substance rehabilitation program at the time of her daughter's disappearance, and baby Ayla had been placed in her father's care while she was seeking treatment. On the night the girl was last seen, DePietro, 24, and his girlfriend, along with their small child, were allegedly in the basement of the Waterville home. DePietro's sister was also in the house, along with her young child in a bedroom on the main floor. While Ayla was reportedly in an adjacent bedroom by herself, DePietro's mother was not at home that night. The adults inside that home say someone came into the house. A small home. Okay, that just said that DePietro's mother was not home that night. So she had gone off somewhere. And Trista, which is Ayla's mother, said that DePietro had to be at his mom's house, living at his mom's house, in order to keep Ayla while she was in rehab, because she thought Ayla would be safest with his mother there. Now, ironically, his mother happened to be gone all night this night that Chico's disappeared. Went into a bedroom Ayla normally doesn't sleep in, took her, vanished in the night, and not one of them heard or saw anything, McClausen said. At a vigil for baby Ayla over the weekend, where the children's parents saw each other for the first time since her disappearance, DePietro refused to comment. "I'm not here to answer any questions," he said. How rude. While police say that DePietro has been cooperating with the investigation, they say someone isn't telling the whole truth. What does that sound like? Let's go to Hendersonville, Tennessee, a few years from now. Police have not named DePietro a suspect or even a person of interest. They say they have ruled no one out and no one in, and they are no closer to solving this case than they were on the morning of December 17th when Ayla was reported missing. On Saturday night, the girl's family posted a message on the website they had set up to aid in locating her. Even in light of this evidence, we are more determined than ever to find out what has happened to Ayla, and we still cling to the hope that she is alive and will be returned to us. The message said, "We urge anyone that has information about Ayla to come forward now and unburden yourself with the truth." Now we are going to a story from WTMW, Channel 8, ABC. It says 8 investigates.
Years ago, December 17th, 20-month-old Ayla Reynolds disappeared from her grandmother's house here in Waterville. It is still considered the largest missing persons case in Maine history.
Is this a plausible theory with
Lieutenant Jeffrey Love has been on the Ayla Reynolds case since day one.
We are hopeful. Our work will never stop. It will always continue. We've had several successes in the past with cases that are 10, 20, 30 years old.
Since that day, December 17th, 2011, Maine State Police say the leads continue to come in. 30 new leads this year alone. Many of the calls from psychics who claim to know the location of Ayla's body.
I just received one recently that they know exactly where she is. Everyone has kind of a feeling of what happened or where she may be. And we're waiting for that one piece of information that will take us to where Ayla is.
Okay, I have to stop for copyright. But it's crazy that so many years later, she has not yet been found. I don't know. I kind of think that she is with the father, since the father hasn't been able to be located since shortly after she went missing. But that's just what I heard.
Bunch of guys are back before morning Hill Street. In the days, weeks, and months that followed, massive searches were conducted around the Violet Avenue home in Waterville. Nothing connected to Ayla was ever found. Months into the investigation, detectives confident that Ayla was met with foul play. The child's mother, Trista Reynolds, desperate for answers.
We did find blood inside that house.
purple?
Yes, we did find Ayla's blood inside that house.
Enough blood that it was determined the child likely did not survive whatever happened to her.
It was pretty glaring.
Oh, that's so sad.
For the investigators as to that someone didn't go inside of that house that night. That something happened. and that we needed to find Ayla to figure out exactly what happened.
We have talked to the family, as I said before.
The focus of pressure put on the three adults inside the home the night before Ayla was reported missing. Justin DePietro, his girlfriend at the time, Courtney Roberts, and Justin's sister, Alicia DePietro. Police said the three have not been truthful.
So are they suspects? So I think we've been very clear from the beginning of this, and that we feel as though people inside of the house have more information to provide. And that's where we're going to leave it. Is we don't know.
Okay, so they're not actually saying yes, they're suspects, but they're not actually saying no, they're not suspects. You're right. No one has been charged in any case, in any of the cases. Not Sebastian's, not Summerwell's, not this one. There's another one of a missing child somewhere, I remember. But yeah, neither one of the parents are being charged at all for the unthinkable. I think somebody needs to be getting charged with something. They're only saying they know more than they're telling. Or they think they know more than they're telling.
Exactly what happened. There is someone that does.
Ayla was in her father's care while Trista Reynolds checked herself into a rehab program.
I've been involved with this case from day one, and I haven't brought Trista closure. And I wear that every day I come to work.
Lieutenant Love took us to an office where Detective Ryan Brockway is the primary investigator assigned to the Ayla Reynolds case. In the corner, a giant table, binders, boxes, and folders. This is the Ayla Reynolds case file. On the wall, a picture of Ayla looking back at the investigators who worked the case.
It's very hard. Which drives as detectives and investigators, that's what drives us, is to every day when we get these leads to work and help to bring closure to these families.
In another office, Waterville Police Chief Joe Massey reflects on 10 years. A case that started as a missing child became a national story with 100 investigators converging on the central Maine city. The unsolved case has stayed with him all of these years.
It's had a lingering effect, which is kind of gnawed on me. Even today, I have people who stop me and say, hey, what's the Ayla Reynolds case at this point? So it stayed with them too.
And as Justin DePietro was deposed today for the civil suit against him, his lawyer said this, quote, there is no evidence which I've seen that supports any claim that my client had anything to do with her disappearance.
And so now, after 10 years, nearly 1,700 tips from 40 states, a $30,000 reward, no suspects named, nobody charged, and the same question, where's Ayla? In Waterville, Tim Keithley, WMTW News 8. 10 years.
Okay, now we're going to go to true crime news.
I guess like the lies and I just was hurt. Everything.
It's been more than a dozen agonizing years for Trista Reynolds. Her 20-month-old daughter, Ayla Bell, disappeared under mysterious circumstances from her dad's house in Waterville, Maine. Her body never found.
A part of me always wonders if she was yelling out for me and wondering why I wasn't there to save and protect her like she was supposed to. So no.
Well, the way the police officer described it, the little girl was afraid to go with her daddy. I imagine she was calling out for her mama.
It haunts me every day.
Someone knows something, but no one's talking. Trista finally took matters into her own hands, pushing to have Ayla declared dead. A Cumberland County judge did just that 6 years after the disappearance.
That has got to be the hardest thing any mother could ever do, is have their child declared unalived. I couldn't imagine. I could not imagine. It must have been so hard for her.
When I heard the judge's final decision, I kind of lost it, broke down. I mean, I was expecting him to say yes to what we were trying, but a part of me also thought that maybe he wasn't going to declare Ayla dead. And then when he did, it kind of like really hit hard and it made it all real for me.
Ayla. Amanda Panda says, I can't imagine wanting to do that. I can't either, but if that's the only way that she could get to the point so that she could bring a lawsuit against the father, you're right, Morgan Nick never did. You're right. But Morgan Nick's mother wasn't going to bring a lawsuit against her husband, even though she divorced him after it happened. But you're right. And the little girl out of Van Buren, you're right. That it would feel like you were admitting it, but also you have to realize that can be reversed. If Ayla, whatever, she could have. Child neglect that led to the disappearance of the child. Yeah. But from what I understand, up there in Maine, she had to be declared unalive before she could bring a lawsuit against the father. So, but if Ayla was found today, right now, they could reverse the decision of her, because she's declared legally. She's not declared physically. There's a difference. Yeah. Well, actually, I did hear that his sister went and checked on her at 10 o'clock. His sister was actually the last person supposedly to have seen her.
Had to be declared dead in order for Trista to take the next step. A year later, Trista filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Ayla's father, Justin DePietro, his mother, and his sister, who were all in the house that terrible night. The suit claims someone attempted to clean up the blood before investigators arrived. Almost a decade after Ayla went missing, you can still hear the pain and anguish in Trista's voice.
For 7 years, I've asked myself, who would want to hurt such an innocent little girl that was filled with so much spunk?
Adorable Ayla Bell Reynolds was a surprise pregnancy for Trista and then boyfriend Justin DePietro.
He said, well, let's put her up for adoption. I said, you're absolutely crazy. I will not do that.
Trista was a loving mom, but shortly after Ayla's first birthday, she relapsed into drug use and entered rehab. Ayla was staying with her aunt, Trista's sister. That is, until Justin and his mother convinced a Maine Department of Health and Human Services worker that they were supposed to have legal custody of Ayla. Justin showed up at the aunt's house with a police officer to take the little girl away.
That night, when the officers brought her down, I told that officer straight out, I said, she's going to flip out. She's going to flip out because she does not want to go with him. He is abusive to her.
Trista and her father, Ronald Reynolds, were both worried about Ayla living with Justin, both claiming the toddler would return from visits with mysterious injuries, which is consistent with what DHS found in its investigation.
She had bruises like going up her leg, and I said, what's this, Justin? And he was like, oh, she was playing at Chuck E. Cheese in a ball pit, and some little kid was kicking her. Problem was, there was no ball pit at Chuck E. Cheese.
The night Justin showed up to take Ayla away, she had the very reaction her grandfather predicted. A Lewiston, Maine police officer was there. His official report described what must have been a heart-wrenching moment. Ayla was in the kitchen laughing, playing, and attempting to make conversation with Officer Weaver. Then, the officer had Justin come to the apartment door. When Ayla saw Justin, she immediately broke down crying and attempted to flee through the kitchen. Ayla continued to cry uncontrollably as the officer picked up Ayla and handed her over to Justin. Trista immediately checked herself out.
That little girl did not want to go with her daddy. And that police officer should have had more authority than whatever the DHS had, and should have prevented him from taking that child. In my opinion, I think Trista has a legal suit against that officer.
Out of rehab and began to fight to get her daughter back, to no avail.
I said, Justin, why did you bring her to me? Why would you let me see her? And you just said you're never going to see her again.
Terrifying words for a mother to hear, but it only amplified when Ayla suffered a broken arm. Justin claimed that he was carrying her in the rain at night when he tripped and fell on top of her. When Trista called to check on Ayla, she says once again, Justin dodged her.
He said, well, she's watching Home Alone right now. And I said, really? You never going to talk to her? And he never did. And then that was it.
Trista would never speak to or see her daughter Ayla again.
I got on the phone, and it was my dad, and he was in tears. I said, Dad, what's going on? What's going on? He's right here, and he was missing. Nobody knows where she is.
According to the Maine State Police, Justin put Ayla in her bed around 8 o'clock the night before, and when he went to check on her the next morning, her bed was empty.
Obviously, when a toddler wanders off, we obviously start searching, starting from the place where she was last seen, and in this place, it was their home. And that search got wider and wider.
As police and divers combed every inch of Waterville, investigators questioned everyone who was in the house that night: Justin, his sister, his mother, and his then girlfriend. They all claimed Ayla was abducted. Meanwhile, investigators say the little girl's blood was found on items, including her slippers, her car seat, and one of her dolls.
We don't think she was abducted. We don't think she wandered off. And we think foul play is involved. We think it is highly unlikely that Ayla Reynolds will be found alive.
My whole insides, like I felt like my whole heart, just everything in here, just feeling like it was crackling, and it just broke, and I just dropped to the ground. And told my mom, I said, it's real, Mom. Like, she's dead. Justin, really, I want to see her. Justin! I'll never stop looking.
Police have never named a suspect in the case, but they've always suspected foul play.
Did that not look like the actions of a guilty man? Serial running away from his ex-girlfriend instead of standing there and being a man and facing up to what happened. If I could see him, I'd just bop him right in the snot locker. Yes, I would. Not really, but I would.
And they've also believed that Justin DePietro's story doesn't pass the straight face test.
We have said from the very beginning that the three adults inside that home know more than they told us.
2 years after Ayla's disappearance, Justin was in court on an unrelated domestic assault charge.
Hello to the third person that came in to chat. Thank you for being here. Please hit the thumbs up, and you're welcome to say something.
Seems a Portland cop saw him grab and push his ex-girlfriend in public. That case was eventually dismissed.
Tell me what happened to my daughter!
Trista sees the opportunity to face the father of her missing child head-on outside the courthouse, her rage exploding for all to see.
Justin, really, I want to see her! Justin! What are you doing?
Ayla's grandfather, Reynalds, is boiling over. He's convinced Ayla was murdered. In several published reports, he claims the motive.
That's what it sounds like to me. I agree with you right there. Amanda Panda says, domestic abuse. What sounds like to me?
was money.
3 days before she went missing, he took out an insurance policy out on her, $10,000.
In recent years, Justin DePietro moved from Maine to Los Angeles. It was there that he told us back when Trista had filed the wrongful death lawsuit against Justin, his mother and sister, the young mother held a press conference expressing her deepest emotions, saying, "Justin, I promise you, wherever you are, one day you will have to face me and tell me the truth of what really happened to Ayla. You can't hide from this forever." The wrongful death lawsuit was settled through mediation just this year. Does that settlement constitute justice for this grieving mother? We may never know because we've reached out to all parties and we're told the civil matter has been resolved. In the meantime, Trista only has her memories of a little girl lost.
I know my friends, and she's got these beautiful wings, and they're always playing in a garden with other little people with wings. I'll be right there. She would have it. She's looking down and she's watching us.
That's so sad.
A Crime Watch Daily exclusive. The girl's father breaks his silence.
Are you open to doing a sit down? So I know that.
Explosive allegations as Justin DePietro talked publicly for the first time about the night his daughter disappeared.
Were there signs in your house indicating that someone was in there?
9 days before Christmas, 20-month-old Ayla Reynalds vanishes during the night from her father's home in Waterville, Maine. Ayla's mother tells our Michelle Sagona it's a day that haunts her.
How did you find out your daughter was missing? I got on the phone, and it was my dad, and he was in tears. I said, "Dad, what's going on? What's going on?" "The police are here, and Ayla's missing. Nobody knows where she is."
According to state police, Justin DePietro put his daughter to bed around 8 o'clock. When he went to check on her the next morning, she was gone.
Obviously, when a toddler wanders off, we obviously start searching, starting from the place where she was last seen, and in this place it was their home. And that search got wider and wider.
Police searched all of Waterville, but Ayla is never found. Then the focus of the investigation shifts when cops find Ayla's blood inside her father's home.
Wow. I know that a lot of what we're hearing is repeat, and I apologize for that, but I think it tells the story.
The slippers, the baby doll, in her car seat.
Justin, his sister Alicia, and then girlfriend Courtney were all in the house that fateful night. All three say the toddler must have been abducted.
Did investigators show you evidence from what they had and what was found inside the house?
We have seen pictures of what they found in the house, yes.
2 years ago, we asked Ayla's aunt Alicia about the blood evidence.
What would explain the book? She's been vomiting quite a lot. She had lactose issues.
Okay.
So she had been sick.
Nothing happened.
All right. Did you hear that? She had been vomiting a lot because she had lactose issues and she had been sick. Okay, first of all, if they knew she had lactose intolerance, they shouldn't have given her anything dairy. Second of all, if she was vomiting, it would not have been blood. And if she'd been vomiting blood, they should have taken her to the ER. So there is another, like Amanda said, neglect. That right there states another charge for neglect, for not getting the child proper medical care that she needed.
In the house back there. Nothing. No foul play. No foul play in the house back there.
But police aren't buying it and tell Trista what they believe happened to her only daughter that night.
They actually think that it ended with them rolling her up in a blanket and sticking her in a tote.
Do you think that it was an accident, or what do you think happened?
I just think things got really out of hand and he didn't know how to handle it the way that he should.
Little Ayla was a surprise pregnancy for Trista and her then boyfriend Justin. The two split before she was born. Trista kept her the majority of the time, and she claims that Ayla often had mysterious injuries after her visits with her dad.
She had bruises like going up her leg, and I said, "What's this, Justin?" And he was like, "Oh, she was playing at Chuck E. Cheese in a ball pit, and some little kid was kicking her." Problem was, there's no ball pit at Chuck E. Cheese.
And if somebody was kicking her, why didn't he go to that somebody's parents and get it stopped? Or why didn't you take the 1-year-old baby out of the ball pit where she wouldn't get hurt?
Just 2 days before she went missing, Ayla's arm was broken in what Justin calls an accident. At the time, Justin had been caring for Ayla while Trista dealt with personal issues. When she called to check on her daughter,
he said, "Well, she's watching Home Alone right now." And I said, "Really? You never want to talk to her?" And he never did. And that was it.
for months after their child's
There's
disappearance,
kids going
Trista
in my
says
RV
she tried
garage
getting
where all my
Justin to talk.
breakables
And
are
one day,
for
he's
somebody's
tipped off
screen.
about a court date he has for an alleged domestic battery incident.
Tell me what happened to my daughter!
The heartbroken mother's frustration erupts outside a Maine courthouse.
Justin, look at it, I want to see her!
Do you want to look at me?
Do you remember this? Justin! Where did you go?
I just wanted my answers. That's all I ever wanted.
After 6 long years, Trista believes she may finally be close to getting some answers. Even though Ayla's body has never been found, a judge in Cumberland County, Maine has declared her legally dead.
When I heard the judge's final decision, I kind of lost it. I was expecting him to say yes to what we were trying, but a part of me also thought that maybe he wasn't going to declare Ayla dead. It kind of like really hit hard, and it made it all real for me.
As difficult as it was to hear, the legal declaration is something Trista asked for.
We decided to pursue it so we could go after Justin and his family civilly.
She's now planning to file a wrongful death lawsuit against Ayla's father, which would force him, under oath, to answer questions about the night their daughter vanished. But Justin is ready to talk now. 6 years after little Ayla Reynalds vanished from her father's home in Waterville, Maine, her mother will not give up the search.
I'll never stop looking for Ayla.
Cops have never named a suspect in the case, but have always suspected foul play.
You said from the very beginning that the 3 adults inside that home, no more than
One of those 3 adults in that tiny little house is Ayla's father, Justin DePietro. He recently moved from Maine to Los Angeles, and that's where I tracked him down.
Justin, hi. I'm Melissa with Crime Watch Daily. Here to talk to you about Ayla. Do you have a few minutes?
In a Crime Watch Daily exclusive, Justin finally breaks his silence about the night his daughter disappeared. Although her body has never been found, a judge recently declared Ayla legally dead.
And I was just going to kind of help you with that.
Nothing good.
Justin has always maintained that someone broke into his house during the night and kidnapped his 20-month-old daughter.
Do you think there's someone that you know or a stranger? Really? Do you think? Yeah.
Justin seemed genuinely interested in telling his story, actually agreeing to meet later that night after he got off work.
He wanted to do it along this river walk by his house. He came, and then he ended up leaving. He said he was uncomfortable, so he took off.
Next day, we attempted again, but as we set up for the interview at a nearby hotel, Justin backed out a second time. He then agreed to talk only by phone.
When I met you that morning, you said that maybe someone you know had something to do with it. Who do you think would have taken her? Who do you think it is? Is it her mom, a relative?
I think it's someone close to her.
Were there signs in your house indicating that someone was in there?
Yeah, there's two things that were suspicious of her.
What were those two things in her room?
I can't do exact details with you guys, but
It was enough for you to think that this was planned and someone broke in and took her that night.
absolutely.
Did you tell police, and what was their reaction? Are they looking into that?
No, I haven't.
Oh, man.
A lot of things.
From the beginning,
Am I still here? I just got a copyright notice. I'm going to have to cut this part of the video off. But, hold on, let me finish this text right here. I have to cut the video off right there because I just got copyrighted. I got music going. See the little polka dots? It's not the exact same video. You'd think they'd want the information out there. I don't know how it violated. I don't know. They don't ever tell me. They just say I got a copyright strike. But anyway, what I noticed is about Ayla. There's some things that seem suspicious about her. Now, I'm not breaking my thought that the father was responsible. Okay? I'm still in thought on that one. But in the beginning, am I here? All right, I'm back. Sorry, I got a strike. A copyright strike. Thank goodness for moderators being able to keep things on. Okay, what I noticed, I still think and I still believe that the father has a lot to do with it and is the main responsible party, okay? I'm also thinking it could be the girlfriend of the father, this Courtney person, because she's not mentioned at all other than the fact that they're saying she was there, okay? So Ayla, there's some things about her that seem suspicious. Number one, in the beginning when we were first listening to the first video, she said that she was with her now fiance's dad and they were traveling from where they lived to where he had just recently been incarcerated. She picked some real winners. Not judging, just stating. Okay, so they had to pass the town that Ayla, Winterford or Winterville or whatever it was, Maine. They had to pass the off-ramp for that town to go to the prison. And she was sleeping. She said that she was dead asleep and that Justin had called her future father-in-law on the phone. I'm guessing what happened is he called her phone and he answered because she was asleep. And so she was dead asleep. So I'm thinking that the father-in-law answered her phone and said she's tired. Then later, Justin called again and said, wake her up, because he said that they pulled over in a donut shop or something, and he woke Alia up to talk, or woke Tristan up to talk to him. And that's when she was told that the baby was gone. So, okay. Then, if you notice, I already mentioned that there was no tears when she was trying to talk. And she was, at the beginning, when she was in the beginning videos, there was no tears. Now, years later, she's got tears. That sounds a little suspicious. And the third point is, she changed her story. If you notice there at the end, when she was doing the interview, she said that her dad called her saying that Ayla had gone missing. So the police were here and Ayla had gone missing. So, yeah, that didn't sound right. Something's not adding up right. And then the fourth thing is Trista wanted Ayla declared unalived so that she could have a funeral, because they mentioned that the dad, Justin, didn't plan a funeral for Ayla. So and it's possible that the mom, because she brought up the fact that the girl was wrapped in a blanket, put in a tote, and this kind of stuff. Did the mom did Trista have a funeral for Ayla, and what was supposed to be an empty box that was supposed to have been buried, did it actually have the remains of Ayla in it? And nobody will ever know, because she won't be found unless the dad can get a court order to get whatever was buried exhumed, the empty box buried and exhumed, to find out if it was actually an empty box. That's what I'm thinking. What are you thinking? Do you think the same thing I think? She just said that the police told her that they thought that Ayla had been wrapped in a blanket and put in a tote. And then that was the end of her statement about the tote. So I don't know if she has the tote. Well, of course she wouldn't have the tote, but maybe the police never actually really said that. Maybe that's what she knows is what happened. So anyway, poor little Ayla is still missing since 2011. The poor baby. I'm hoping she'd be 7 or 8 years old now. When she was in rehab, when she got the call that DHS had given the dad custody without doing a home inspection, then she checked herself out of rehab. So she was only in rehab for like 4 days. She checked herself out of rehab, and then she started dating this other guy. May I help you? Hello? That is crazy, crazy. Hold still. Trista's last name. Oh, never mind. It's Reynalds. No, that was somebody named Dawnetta Raymond. And the only reason I answered the phone is because the story we're doing Tristan's last name's Reynolds, and in my brain, I thought somebody related to Tristan was calling me, but two different last names. So, yeah, the only reason I answered, and then whoever it was hung up on me. But yes, he's hungry. He just texted me, "We're going to be busy, so text me before you come." So, but yeah, I'm suspicious. Why would she think that? Why would she bring up that about the tote and then all of a sudden, shut up, not mention the tote again? She declared her daughter unalived, and then the father said, "I'm not doing a funeral for her because I don't believe she's unalived." So things aren't adding up in this story. A little bit of my brain for a slick moment last night was thinking that the dad and Tristan collaborated this whole thing, much like the two kids in Nova Scotia, Jack and Lily. Neither parent has been arrested on that case either. But I think what I listened to today, I think the police are suspecting that the mother is guilty, and that's why she went back onto the Indian reservation, because they can't touch her. I wonder if she didn't try to take her in the middle of the night since she wasn't actually in rehab. See, that's a thought. But she would have had to known that Ayla was in that room that she didn't normally sleep in. So somebody had to be on the inside helping her, unless it was Courtney, the girlfriend. Because Courtney could have gotten out of bed to go to the bathroom and he not think anything about it because it could be a normal thing. So if she'd have got out of bed to go to the bathroom, he would have still slept. And if Courtney was in cahoots with Trista, so nowadays, if we decide we don't want a child anymore, we can just get together and decide we don't need this child anymore, and everybody's just getting rid of their kids. That's what's happening. Sadly, that is what's happening. Something needs to change. Something needs to change. You make sure your child's not with you if you have custody of your child. Because if your child's with you, well, now wait, Candace Wells had her child with her. Sebastian's mother had him with her. I don't think for any one second that Seth had anything to do with Sebastian going missing. But his mama sure looks guilty. And his mama has a husband that a lot of people suspect stepped in and took care of measures. I mean, if adult unalived or gone missing, they don't just drop the case like this. So why many cases nobody's getting charged? You've got a good point. You make an excellent point. You make an excellent point. There's too many cases where the missing child most likely has been unalived and the parents are not being interrogated and locked up, because in the Sebastian Rogers case, they could lock up Katie and Chris for child abuse and neglect, because Chris said right out of his own mouth on national television to Nancy Grace that he had spanked Sebastian with the belt. Then he said It was 3 years ago. Then he said in Chronicles of Olivia that the 15-year-old thought if he told about it, he would get Chris removed from the house. If Sebastian just turned 16, 10 months after he went missing, how could the spanking be 3 years ago when Sebastian was 12? It doesn't make sense. It couldn't have. And that's with this case too. It just does not make sense. Too many things lead in both directions. Just like in the Sebastian case, there's theories that lead in both directions. And I'm still wondering why Justin's sister is the one that checked on the baby at 10 o'clock and then never saw the baby again. If Justin didn't go in and check on the baby when him and Courtney went to bed, was Justin's sister the one that made sure that Ayla was missing? Because if she was the last one to see Ayla in that bedroom, because he admitted by his own mouth that he didn't go check on her at midnight when he went to bed, or whenever he went to bed. And if there was a door to the basement that exited the house, that child could have been sent out that door by the sister that supposedly went and checked on that baby at 10 o'clock. That's just my theory. And I'm entitled to my own opinion and my own theory. So anyway, I'm sorry that we couldn't watch the last 10 minutes of that video, but I tried to do the copyright thing. I tried to keep it all right, but it just, I don't know how other channels can do it. I guess I just played too much of it and didn't cut enough of it out. So anyway, I better get my son some supper because he's hungry. So, and I made him tater tot lasagna for supper, so he's going to be happy with that. So anything, do something nice for someone, even if it's just be the reason that they smile today, and get luck. Did you post the link? The link to what? No, I did not. You're right. I did not put the links to those. That's probably what got me. You're probably so right. That's probably what got me. So I got to switch over here and make sure I didn't miss anything else. Yeah, bad me. Tisk, tisk, tisk. Okay, well, I'm going to end the stream and get my son some supper. Like I said, do something nice for someone, even if it's just be the reason they smile tonight, and get luck. Thanks for being here.